take up too much of your time. I know you got a speech, and I've done enough watching Casey Neistat to know that you like to be alone before those things happen.
No, not before those things happen.
Really?
Always.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
So my first kind of question for you, I was asking you up the stairs. I wasn't planning on this, but now I have to. You know, vlogging every single day for, what was it, like 600 videos or something crazy like that, right? It's like you're putting out creative work so often, and you're just doing it on a frequent basis where life is happening, you know, things are going on in the family and in personal life and in career where there's ups and there's downs. We all experience it. How did you manage to just kind of maintain your state and just kind of keep moving forward and pushing out brilliant content? That's what I'm curious about.
I don't know. I think when you're working at that level of, when you're yielding that much work, when you're that focused on something that it doesn't, there's never an opportunity to stop and think. And that's virtuous in that it means that like you just have to keep that train moving at all costs. But it's detrimental to the fact because you're able to really, you never have the opportunity to really examine what you're doing and what you want to do next. And I think ultimately that was the reason why I stopped. It was like the CNN opportunity presented itself. And there's nothing about the CNN opportunity that meant I couldn't keep vlogging, but it was like in order for me to really embrace what's next, there's no way I can keep doing this. I can't be 99% focused here and give this 1%. And if I try to move some of the focus from the vlog to this other thing, the vlog's gonna suck. So it was like, fuck it, like you have to commit right here and now, and I have to let go of this before I can grab on to the new thing.
How were you able to just kind of keep on moving forward? Was it literally just the fact that you just were always in a state of doing, that you had no freaking time to think anything outside of the present?
Yeah, I mean, you have priorities in life, and that was my job, and I was very quick to recognize both the opportunities that it was bringing to me, the impact that it was having, and then like when you sort of sprinkle on top of that the fact that I like loved every second of it, it was like it was all the reason you needed to throw everything you got at it.
Turned out to be a pretty beautiful experience. All right, so one of your favorite quotes of mine personally is that quote that you have on risk. It was something like, your life is going to be good in direct proportion to the amount of willingness or risk you're willing to assume, something along those lines, right?
Hold on, I can say it. You fucking
I butchered
it.
Right,
it's life shrinks and expands in proportion to one's willingness to assume risk.
Beautiful. That's a quote. So
Thanks.
I wanted to touch on that for a moment because just from watching you, if there's anything in my opinion that has characterized your life among anything else, it's been the amount of risks that you've been willing to assume since you were incredibly young and to the age that you're at now. So how have you been able to manage all that risk? How have you been able to know that even though I'm about to take this step forward, it might turn out to be really bad or it might turn out to be really good, and to still be standing here today having taken all the risk on that you have? I just want you to touch on that for a bit to maybe help whoever's watching to understand how to take the right risks.
Sure. I mean, I think it just comes down to one thing, and that's perspective. I think that like everyone in this room right now, we're all born into these really cushy lives, and the things we stress out about are like what kind of car we're gonna get, or is she gonna dump me, or does he like me, or like are my clothes cool enough? And like a tiny bit of perspective shows you that there are people that are wake up terrified for their lives in Aleppo right now, like at this exact moment. And you know, I have been fortunate enough to be exposed to all kinds of life in this planet. And you know, like I've talked about how I work with a nonprofit delivering delivering morphine, like late stage pain relief to people who are dying of AIDS in rural Uganda. And like met a young girl who baked cookies because it made her happy, and she sold those cookies as she was like a 20-year-old girl who was raped and dying of AIDS. And you look at that and you're like, okay, she's got the power to smile. So it's like, I have these things I want to do in life, like who the fuck am I to say like, I'm not going to take that chance because I need to stick with this day job. So it's like, no, like you take these chances because the kind of risks that you or I or any of these people in this room are going to take, like, what are the consequences of failure? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Move back in with your parents, be really poor. Like, we live in countries where like a government will pay for, well, they'll give me some money for food. They'll pay for your health care, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that's a very extreme perspective on that, but I think there's a lot of truth to that, which is just that like, I think we are constantly taught that, you know, you have to maintain this trajectory, and to not be able to succeed along those lines means you've failed in life. And when you see just how broad the spectrum is of success and failure in life across all of humanity, you stop being scared real fast.